Hey followers, this is your boy, Movie Maker Doug 55. Today, Andy and I are doing something a little bit different. We're going to have an episode about ongoing mental health during strange times as COVID. And we have our guest from Being Relentless and Unstoppable, Matt Runnalls. Welcome again, Matt.
Thanks for having me back. It must have done all right the first time, did I?
Yeah, you did, mate. To be welcome back. So, yeah, thanks, Dougie, for the intro, and Matt for coming on. This is a little bit different today. We've probably got about 20 to 25 minutes to, just have Matt really open us up and the viewers who watch to what is actually going on with people. Matt is the CEO of mindfulaustralia.org. So Matt, I'm just going to let you take the reins, mate, and let us know what's occurring in Australia at the moment.
What's going on with COVID?
Yeah, well, I think it's the same everywhere you go from what I'm hearing. I mean, it's a really important time for people to, I guess, be gentle. I mean, none of us have really been through what we're experiencing at the moment. So don't be too hard on yourselves for all of the things that we're going through, and giving yourself permission just to pause and to be okay with left foot, right foot one day at a time. And I mean, it's a lot of unknowns. So it's just about using some of this time that we've got at the moment and to put it back into ourselves to make sure that we get through this, and not only just get through it and survive, but we want to fight. We want to set the mindset of fighting. We want to come out the other side of this as a more beautiful, more resilient version of ourselves. And we can do that with a range of different techniques, including practicing gratitude, exercise, nutrition, eating well, heaps of different things, cold exposure, value alignment, breath work, lots of beautiful things that exist to us for free. But also we know, Doug, and you know yourself, there's plenty of different advocates and community groups and professional services are out there that are willing to help and support if that's the method in which you need to go down. And I mean, there's nothing weak about sharing what you experience, and there's a lot of strength in doing that. So, we're all going through this time. None of us are experts at it because it's never happened before. So it's about understanding that all our thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we're going through right now are valid. And we can use those for the betterment of ourselves so that we can be better to the people around us also. So, yeah.
Hey, Matt, can I ask you a question? That's really great. Like, what do you find is the biggest thing people are going through, say, especially in Victoria at the moment where it's locked down again? Do you find people don't know where to call? They don't know where to reach out? I deal with a lot of actors I'm coaching, and to be honest, all the coaching sessions are about anxiety. Like,
I think that, I guess the main problem that I see, and I might be a little bit different, but I believe that every single person believes that a one set menu for help and support is therapy and medication. And it's a good big portion of what we need and what people need as well. But what we need to realize is that there's so many other ways in which we can get ourselves help and support, and, talk therapy, socializing, connection. These things have been taken away from us, but they're not on an online platform. So the ability to understand that we have a lot of things that exist to us right this very moment that can help us get through those times, and, consistent practice of gratitude every day, reflection in a journal, writing down the good, the bad, and the ugly that happen each day, and making sure we take the good through to tomorrow and remove the bad or acknowledge why it existed, so that we can become better. So sorry, Henny?
No, I was just going to say, mate, Doug was only talking about this before. He's on some medication, which I'll let him share about in a minute, to help his anxiety. And I said, that's great. I said, but what we're also going to be doing is helping you manage your stress during the day, because he's online a lot with his book writing and the YouTube channel we have. And he's creating all the ads and videos. So we're doing exactly what you said. He's setting up easy ways to manage his workday, a whiteboard, so that it's right in front of him. He doesn't have to keep thinking. Whatever's important is right there on the whiteboard, to take a break every couple of hours and go for a half-hour walk. So it's really important to use, like you just said, the things that are naturally around us. Good music, time to take out and have a bit of breathing meditation, listen to some good music. As much as it may seem like a dead end at the moment because, COVID, we're still locked in. The point is, look after yourself. Prisoners do it in jail. They get locked into cells way smaller than that. And a lot of them learn about themselves. A lot of them come out the other end, and some struggle. But we're not in jail. We're not in jail.
And that's a great point. We have access to a lot of things right now. Where the most gifted and blessed people that are ever been around, just purely through to the fact that we've got technology. I mean, if you're listening to this, you've got internet and you've got a technology device. You are in the privileged few in the world that have that right. So to be able to use those things to find the answers, to find the tools, to find the techniques, to reach out to loved ones, to reach out to the people that are aching to see you smile again. There's no reason to be sitting still and whinging and complaining about the situation that we're in. Instead, using that time to say, you know what, I've never been in this situation, so I'm going to use this situation to become something that I wasn't previous to the person that walked into the situation. So, it'd be an absolute waste to go through COVID and, like myself now, locked down for 6 weeks at a time and go, well, I'm just going to hold on for dear life for 6 weeks, because that mindset there will end up making this 6 weeks a struggle. The mindset for me is, well, okay, essentially I'm in a prison here. It's a 4x4. It's just me and the walls, and I get 60 minutes is the restrictions here in Victoria. So in that 60 minutes of exercise time that we get, essentially that's my time to go out and exercise. So I'm going to use that time accordingly. I'm not going to waste it. We only need 26 minutes of rigorous exercise a day that equates to 12 hours of good positive brain health.
You guys allowed outside at any time of day in your own property?
60 minutes is all we've got outside, and then only between the 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. We've got a curfew after that. So
you can't, once your 60 minutes is up, you cannot go outside again in your own backyard?
Not meant to.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah, so it's about using, 60 minutes, use your time, go out there. We talk about exercise. There's a lot of people that don't like exercise, and I don't care. 60 minutes, 26 minutes of exercise equates to 12 hours of good positive brain health. The same time you exercise, you're getting fresh air, breathing in purest oxygen. Well, for the main part, you'll be able to see people's interactions. They've got a mask on. You can still see them smile through their eyes. You can still see people. You can still be a part of nature. All of these things that are really good for your wellness. Mindfulness. Go down and sit on the beach. Go down and sit on the water. Go down and sit at the park. 60 minutes. Do some breath work. There's so many ways in which we can be better.
Are you allowed to say, my mind just went straight to, okay, create a Facebook group of are you allowed to have extra, 5 or 6 people within, 6-7 feet of each other, or nothing at all?
You're not meant to, no. I don't, from my understanding, I think it's about keeping as much to yourself as possible at the moment, and only being outside to use it for exercise. I think they even cut down exercise size groups and everything like that to 2 people max, I think, to go for a walk with. So, each to their own with their opinion of what this looks like. But if you want to play by the rules, there's no excuses as to why we can't still be well and healthy given the situation. Yes, it's not convenient. Yes, it's not what we all wish for. Yes, I am missing all the people in my life and the gym and boxing and all these other sports that I play. However, there's still plenty of ways in which we can be well if we tap into the strength of who we truly are at our core. Yeah,
and I think it's a really great way to connect up with people around the world, It's creating that opportunity. Like even now, like what we're doing right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation, if it wasn't for COVID. We'd be talking about something else. But this is great because getting where you are in COVID and getting to get through this and keeping your mental health state in a good place, you're going to come up with little things. Yes, it's all of us, but this is a chance to build your internal strength, not listen to that little voice in your head. And okay, this is my world for now. Like I've got here, I can show you on the floor, like I'm in LA, but I got my stretchy ball here. And look at this, mate. This would have to be the biggest ball. And I got my weights on the ground. So we're a little bit more freedom here. We're allowed to get out, but still, things aren't happening, and we've got elections coming up and people are stressing about that. And, but keep this healthy and talk to people like this. This is great. Like communicate with anyone over Zoom or Facebook, Yeah,
like we spoke before, it's just about balance and using the things that we have in our existence for the betterment of ourselves so that we can be better with others. You talk about Doug and all the work that he's doing online and with his book and with YouTube and all of that. But using those simple practices of of putting up a diary and routine and schedule so that you know where your time is being spent, so that you're clearing the mind of all those extra thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
So it's about silencing the mind and getting used to being bored again, because when we're bored, is where creativity and growth comes from.
Well, I've got a friend of mine, and I'll cross over to Doug in a sec. A friend of mine in Melbourne, he's renovating his whole place. Like he's bought the materials in that area. He'll go out and buy them, and then they've done the laundry, the kitchen. They're doing things as cheap as possible, manual stuff like sanding the floors with him and his partner. Man, I coach this guy in acting, but I'm going, dude, you need to write a book on do it yourself, because he's done the whole house, and it's incredible.
I mean,
Like
I think this time's really separated those who whinge and complain about their situation and those who are so self-aware and have acceptance for their situation that they grow through it. I mean, this is by far my biggest and most productive year to date, because I've had the ability to not have to be anywhere. And now I've got more time that I'm not spent in planes, in traveling, in hotels and on the road, or in meetings. I'm here all 24/7 or 23/7. I have the ability to get a lot more done and be more productive. So, I mean, I don't like this time. However, I've definitely can say that I've used it for the betterment of myself and my career.
That's great. Hey, Doug, can you just share a little bit about what it's like for you, when you were dealing with your anxiety with autism and being bullied at school, like briefly, because it's a long story. It's a 500-page book and we've only got 20 minutes. But also what you mentioned the other day about your anxiety that still happens a little bit, but your travels in being fit and healthy and diet and losing weight. Can you share a little bit about how that's left you now? Like you're a way much happier guy. You're productive. You're creating incredible things with our series. You're doing all the commercials. You're doing the videos. Your professionalism is listed, and now you've got. He's even got people in Australia who've asked me to be in a film are actually buying Doug's books, and this guy shared that a friend of his bought Doug's books long before I even knew this guy. So now I'm saying, Doug, do you see how powerful it is? You're doing amazing stuff. So can you share a bit, Doug, with your journey of anxiety and depression and how you managed it?
Yeah. One of the things that came with my autism when I was bored was some sort of mood disorder. I had anxiety and I was uneasy around people at my school district in my hometown of Estes Park, Colorado. I also struggled to fit in with people, which contributed to the bullying that I went through. And, as time went on and as I grew into my teens, my autism got out of control to the point that I had a mental breakdown in 2010 in November. And I was hospitalized in Denver Children's Hospital. And after that, I was kind of stable for a few years. And then
Doug, can I jump in for a sec before you go any further? When you said your autism got out of control, I'm not an expert in autism, but I think autism is autism. Can you share with us what, sorry, my camera wasn't working. Can you share with us, when you said my autism got out of control, was it your autism or you weren't dealing with thinking you're different because of all the adversity you were getting from bullying and not fitting in? Was it that got out of control and that ended you up in hospital? Because I just don't, I'm no expert, but I think autism is autism.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't clear enough in what I said. Maybe I was vague in that statement. But yeah, I dealt with a lot of bullying. And I also faced a lot of trials when I was in school. And I also had certain trials in my personal life that I faced. And I didn't know how to manage them because I was young. And so I had a mental breakdown because I just didn't know how to control my temper.
So that's really, really wonderful, Doug. The word you mentioned there, which Matt's already said, you didn't know how to manage it. So that's really great. Can you share with us, again, briefly, how you started to manage the stress through your writing, how you started to manage your health to where you are now, which is a young man who, I'm telling you, every day we talk, you inspire me because you're just not the same person I knew 5 years ago.
Yeah. We first met in 2013, so it would be like 7 years ago now. But yeah, that's great to hear. And anyway, to answer your question, I left Estes Park in early 2012 and came to Arizona due to circumstances that you can read about in my book. And I kind of had an opportunity to write a book when I was in my freshman year of high school with help from a teacher. So I wrote my first book about my childhood with autism, From Green Flags to Blue Flags, the story of my life. And I promoted it in the 2013 Transition Conference in Scottsdale, Arizona, and did a book signing. And that was when I was on top of the world, because I was doing good in high school, and then I was a professional author for the first time. But then my life started to go on a downward spiral. And, you know, high school went cluster F after that. And what happened was I had another mental breakdown in 2014. And I was hospitalized in Phoenix Children's Hospital, just like 2010. It was pretty much a repeat. And
sorry, Doug, what are some of the things that help you get out of those downward spirals? What are some of the things that you turn to in those times?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Don't worry. To answer your question, okay. To answer your question, a couple years after my last breakdown, I had a rough year. I experienced a loss in my family life that you can read about in my book. And that was the point when I said, okay, I really got to figure out what's causing me to not enjoy life again and actually fix it. And what helped me start to enjoy life again was I chose to promote myself on YouTube. And by 2016, I was at a low point as far as my reputation. A lot of my former schoolmates in my hometown of Estes Park, Colorado, they kind of lost respect for me because of certain things that took place during my rough spot. And that's when I said, I'm going to make the changes and build myself back up again. And so what I did was I started making videos for my YouTube channel. I got in touch with some NASCAR drivers in which I did some brief 10-minute long interviews for my YouTube channel.
And you also kept writing books too, didn't you, Doug?
Actually, after high school, I'm going to be honest with you. After I was accused of plagiarism a couple times in high school, some of which was true, but some of which wasn't true, I took a writing hiatus. I still wrote, but I wasn't active in the writing community for a couple years. And what happened was, as my YouTube channel started growing and getting more subscribers, in 2018, I met a survivor at the USS Indianapolis. Ever heard of that ship?
Yeah. So you started writing a book. We're just running short of time, Doug, that's all. So you started, what I'm getting at is like, when we started coaching, you were writing, but what we did in the coaching is I said to Doug, we got to build up your YouTube channel. We got to build up your social media.
Yeah.
The thing that he took on is he did it. He just was relentless in making this happen. And, you know, I think as time went by, he started to see it doesn't matter what other people think of you. You're creating this. And from there to now, like he has nearly 4,000 followers on YouTube. He's up to his 8th book and 3 of them are really selling well on Amazon.
Yeah.
So what Matt was getting at is how you managed it. You didn't give up. You just went straight back into writing again. And you started to see that you're capable of doing whatever you want. And there's still going to be negative thoughts around, but you're dealing with that. And to jump ahead now, you're on medication for anxiety, correct?
Yeah. Earlier this year, when I gave up my longtime addiction to soda, I went through a little bit of a rough patch in which I started having panic attacks in the evening.
How much did you weigh back then, Doug?
In spring of this year, I weighed up to 310 pounds because I had a soda addiction. But once I gave up soda, I started eating healthier, which I
Yeah.
think has prevented me from contracting the virus. And I've started extending it to bodybuilding classes, which I'm participating in.
And you walk a lot?
I walk a lot. I walk our
Yeah.
dogs that we have.
Well,
And
we made sure that when Doug was doing that we kept his routine up, like make sure you're drinking plenty of water, make sure you're eating. And so, you know, when Matt asked about managing all those things, and the only reason I'm jumping in is, again, time, but sharing with people, when you manage, like exactly what Matt said, being healthy and fit and eating right, drinking right, sleeping right, creating without fear of what people think, you know, chase the career you want. Even if you're sitting at home, learn to write books, maybe do a bit of art, connect up, make a special Facebook group. That keeps your mind and body healthy, even in these restrictions. And Doug's proof of that, like 100% proof. Matt, have you got, and thanks, Doug, for sharing. That's, I know I had to cut you off a bit, but we do only have a short amount of time. But what's the name of your book, Doug? Can you share it with everyone?
From Green Flags to Blue Flags 2, The Amazing Comeback of an Autistic Spokesperson. And just a quick thing, I will admit that my anxiety kind of got out of control recently. I started having panic attacks again. And so yesterday I was given a new drug, which was anti-anxiety. And it's actually helped me so far.
And look, I think you can, it's good to take medication when you need it. But I think partly a lot of the anxiety was coming because Doug is now getting more popular. He's working more, he's writing more. So we're in managing his anxiety by creating a better schedule, because now Doug's moved from this level to this level. And so now, you know, dealing with autism and your experiences, that will create an overwhelming, which we've discussed. So now we have to change our routine. So Doug still gets a lot done, but his schedule is less overwhelming, which is what we've been doing today and yesterday. Correct, Doug?
That's right.
Yeah, just so Matt, I'll hand it back to you so you've heard that. So in the next, we've only got about 10 minutes. What can you briefly share with people, like what Doug's just shared and what you have shared? There's people out there that may watch this or, you know, have a look at it and think, yeah, but that's not me. I'm stuck here and I got no one to talk to and I don't know who to call. What would you suggest and what can you offer them, Matt?
It's about going back and realizing that we're strong enough just the way we are. I mean, there's nothing better than to get down the track and recognize that you've been living with your best friend all along and it's you.
Yeah.
So it's about tapping into the strength of who you truly are at your core. And the only way you do that is by knowing who you are. And without knowing who you are, it's just like jumping in the car and going to a random destination on the map and you don't put it in the Melways or the Navman, you're not going to get there efficiently. So it's about knowing your left foot and your right foot and where it's going for its next step. So it's about understanding why we do things and who we are at our very core. And when you do that and live in alignment and follow your values with your actions, things become a lot more simple. So I mean, if we prioritize our health and wellness and like Doug's writing books and being on YouTube, it's and getting through this time through that, I mean, the way he's writing is more effective, the way he's more beneficial to the people he speaks to on YouTube depends on his wellness. It all comes back to wellness. So our wellness always has to be number one priority. It gives us clarity, it gives us focus. So yeah. my 10 rules around wellness have always been: be okay with being sad, be okay with being angry, confused, broken, lost, alone, behind, afraid. Doesn't matter what you are in this time. It's about validating that it exists. It is what it is, but it's about action in it. Every single thought, feeling, and emotion that we go through is an action signal that something needs to change. That's for our growth. It's not failure. It's not a mistake. You're not a burden. You're not worthless. And I said, you're not a failure on the world. It just means that something needs to change. Something needs to give so that you can create, guide it, maneuver it, dance with it, and create magic with it. Everything that we're going through right now is carving us into the person that we need to become. And through that, I mean, people who whinge and complain do not find the right support. People who have acceptance for where they're at and go, okay, I've got some problems that are going on, I need to address them. They're the people that we want to help. When you whinge and complain about your situation, people will just go ignore you. So it's best to have the acceptance for what you're experiencing and put your hand up and go, hey, I'm not doing so good. Yeah. And people will run to help out. But when we whinge and complain about everything that we go through in life and poor me and this sucks and life's too hard, people don't want to hear that. They'll walk the other way.
Yeah, they will.
Having that solid foundation of acceptance to know, okay, this time's really tough for me. I'd like some help. And there's plenty of people in this world that are those people that love to help. The world's full of them. So just because the odd person, the needle in the haystack, doesn't like the way that you get about and doesn't like you for you, there's millions of other people that do, and millions of other people that are aching to see you smile again. So remember to find that strength within to reach out and touch base with all the supports and loved ones in your life.
Well, look, it's funny because Doug, I'll just quickly share a story what happened to him the other day.
Okay, to explain that story as simple as possible, I contacted an actress from the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I showed her my interview that I did with Adrian Hall, who portrayed Jeremy Potts in the movie. And she got back to me about a few hours later saying she got the link, but she didn't see my previous message asking for an interview. And so she wrote back to me saying, the movie production is great, but the interviewer just sucked. And she didn't realize that she was talking to the interviewer when saying it. And the thing was, she didn't know the full picture about me. She didn't understand that the reason I'm different from most interviewers is because I have autism. And so I felt like I needed to address it. I asked Andy, what do I say? And although he suggested that I just move on and let it go, I instead spoke to my aunt who visited me that evening, and she helped me write a reply to the actress where I told her the circumstances without being hurtful about it, And you want to hear what I said very quick? I'll read the message out, but I'm not going to reveal the name of the actress, obviously. But yeah, it was very polite, and it showed that I was the bigger person. I was like, hey, ma'am, I'm sorry for whatever issues you had with the film. I think you did fantastic in it, and I had a crush on you growing up. I just thought I should make you aware that I was the interviewer you were referring to when you said I was terrible. By the way, I am not offended, but I would like you to know that the reason I act differently from most interviewers is because I have autism. I'm very direct. Sometimes I'm deadpan. I have a dry sense of humor. You have a lot more experience than I, and I respect your professional opinion. And I hope I have not deterred you from potential interviews with me if it presents itself, because I would like to interview you if you are willing. I hope to hear from you soon. God bless you. And she wrote back about a few hours later and was like, oh, I feel a little bit sheepish right now. Literally, that's what she said.
Yeah, I mean, my mantra, Doug, is what I ignore, I accept. So, there's
honestly,
always learning from it from everyone. And by ignoring something that we go through, there's no learning in it for her. So that's nice to be able to share your experiences with whoever that person was so that she grows from the situation and she'll never do that again.
Yeah, she probably won't do that again.
And, I think the PowerPoint about this whole thing is with Matt coming on board is that everybody, I don't care how successful you are or, whatever your role in life is, whether you feel that you could do with more money or you're struggling with job, we all go through the same thing. And I understand that when you're struggling for work and money, things can get hard. But as Matt said, if you approach with a better attitude to look for help, and sometimes you have to wait in line, sometimes you have to hang on a phone for a long time, you will get the help you want if your space of openness is there, ready to receive, but if you complain and whinge, you're just going to find that law of attraction will just keep bringing that to you all the time. So, part of the reason Doug is creating what he is because he's wanting to create that. He's not complaining about things. And when things get overwhelming, we stop immediately and go, okay, Doug, what's happening? Why are you overwhelmed? Well, this and that. And I go, but that's not your fault. That's just a process of growing. An Olympic athlete doesn't win gold in the first week of training. It takes them years. So you're building a business and it's going to take you years and years to build it up, and it'll keep building. And I think that's the same, Matt, what you were saying is you've got to build on your internal strengths, your mental health, your physical health, and you keep building on it, and month after month, you're going to get fitter and stronger and mentally healthier.
Absolutely. I mean, with the same way we go to the gym to get a six-pack or define muscles or muscle definition, like I said, is the same way we sit every single day in the 1,440 minutes we're presented with every single day that we're blessed to have, is to build the emotional six-pack on our brain. And that's to flex the muscles of our emotional struggles and to be who we truly are at our core, not who the world wants us to be.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, where can people get hold of your nonprofit for inquiries, for, whatever courses are being run online or help, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, www.mattarunalls.com or www.mindfuloz.org, and both of those will have a range of services and information about the work that we do here in Australia and all over the world.
Okay, great. So Doug will make sure that in his creative, artistic way, that'll be up on the the interview when it goes up on the channel. But yeah, thanks, Matt. And we hope sometime down the track in maybe a month's time that we'd love to get you on with Doug's mum, who is a psychologist and psychiatrist. So it'd be great to have you two talking to each other, and us hearing other sides of the story and that. So yeah, that'd be great if we can organise that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out. I know that even though you're at home, you still have a lot going on, So thanks, mate.
No dramas. Happy to help, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to start meaningful conversations. And I love seeing both of your faces and to hear all the brilliant things that you're both doing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, man.
So I want to thank you both for joining me on my channel, and we'll keep doing these in the future. And please, everyone, check out my YouTube channel, Movie Maker Doug 55, and click like and subscribe.